Wow. I don't know if I need to sleep between now and next Tuesday. Zach, thank you very much. We've got lots of work. I was trying to think as we were driving over here, how do I connect to people that already understand our values? And I think it's important for us to continue to reiterate our values. So Ellen is Whitney's mother. Whitney is Haley Gray's mother. Haley Gray's our daughter. So I have 3 generations of Virginians up here. And when Ellen was a 20-something, they had jobs for 20-somethings. And when Whitney was a 20-something, we had jobs for 20-somethings. My friends, the only reason I stand before you, and this is the truth, is because I have to believe that when Haley Gray is a 20-something, we'll have a job for her. We'll have a future for her. I know the heart of Congressman Bob Goodlatte. I know the heart of Congressman Robert Hurt. And I know the heart of our next Senator Ed Gillespie. And they believe, just as I do, that these 3 generational women, they deserve all that opportunity, including the youngest generation. I have a solemn duty to look after this young lady's mind, to see she gets educated, to look after her soul and make sure that she grows up in the faith that we believe in as a family. A solemn duty to make sure that she stays healthy. I also have a solemn duty to teach her the difference between right and wrong. And that's why Congressman Bob Goodlatte does what he does every day. That's why Congressman Robert Hurt does what he does every day. They believe just as much about their family and my family and yours. And I believe that's what Ed Gillespie brings to the table. My friends, we are at a bit of a tipping point. We are in our country. So to that point, I'm going to ask Haley Gray to tell you a little bit, or sing to you a little bit, about that tipping point in our country.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
So my friends, from the mouth of babes is where this country is going. But it's not going there unless we continue to stand up for our values. There are too many people in Washington that are trying to define our values for us. And that's not right. And those same individuals want to spend a lot of your tax dollars on those values they've defined for us. And that sure ain't right. And I will continue to stand for what we believe in. And I will continue to stand behind my dear friends, Congressman Bob Goodlatte, Congressman Robert Hurt, and our next Senator Ed Gillespie. Thank you all very much. And now it's indeed my privilege to bring up our dear friend, a gentleman who needs no introduction to Lynchburg or the Lynchburg Republican Committee. Congressman Robert Hurt has been a dear friend for all of us for so many years. A gentleman from Chatham. He has me beat because every Sunday morning, 4 generations of Hurt sit in the back pew of his church, regardless of where he is. My friends, it is about family to my friend Robert Hurt. It is about faith. It is about our fundamental freedoms, and it is about the future. I think Charles is here. Charles, raise your hand. You got to come up here and be with your dad, whether you want to or not, dude. So with no further ado, my dear friends, Congressman Robert Hurt.
Thank you so much, Scott. All right. We ready to go? We ready to go? Come on now. All right. Let me first of all thank you, Scott, for your leadership in the Virginia House. House of Delegates. I can tell you, when we were here earlier in this campaign season, we talked a little bit about really the leadership that the House of Delegates displayed this last session, which I guess is the never-ending session, correct?
Sadly.
But really, you know, we have seen what happens in Washington, D.C., in the poisonous atmosphere, in the politics of destruction. What we saw this last session was a little bit of D.C. creeping across the Potomac and down to the James River. And, you know, we had a political agenda that was being pushed on the people of Virginia. And the House of Delegates stood up. And the State Senate stood up. Steve Newman stood up. And our General Assembly stood up. Thank you all for standing up. Not letting the political agenda hijack the voting process. God bless you. I want to thank everybody who is here today for all of the work that you have done, that you're going to do. You know, we have had a great week this week. I am very honored to be here with my friend Bob Goodlatte, and I want to thank him for allowing me to be in his district as we speak. Although I like to think that we sort of have we certainly have shared interest in this headquarters and in the great things that happen here in Lynchburg. Of course, our congressional district, we represent Campbell and Bedford and Appomattox and Nelson. But Bob and I work together so closely, and he's somebody that I admire extravagantly. He's helped me so much, and that's just personally. And then I think about the great things that he's done for this country. But before I ask him to come up here and speak to us, let me just say we'll tell you a little bit about what we've done this last week. Our district is 23 counties and cities. We've traveled to all 23 counties and cities this week, and we put 1,100 miles in the car. And what we have heard all across the district is what we all know, and it's why we're fighting so hard for this election. But people are so upset about the direction of this country. They are so disgusted with politics and business as usual in Washington.
Amen.
And what they understand, and what we have all, I think, been successful in communicating, is the reason that we are having such a hard time in Washington, D.C. It's not because of the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives has been passing, where Congressman Goodlatte and I serve, we've passed hundreds of bills that would make it easier for Virginia families to succeed. Hundreds of bills that would make it easier for our Main Street businesses, our small businesses, our family farmers to succeed. And when they succeed, we all succeed. Because that's what drives job growth. We have places in Virginia's 5th District with unemployment as high as 10%. 1 in 10 out of work. That is unacceptable. And that's what this election is all about. And as we travel across the district, people understand and they say, you know, it's that Harry Reid. He's killing all your good bills, isn't he? I say, yes, he is. Hundreds of bills that he's killed. Bipartisan bills. Common sense bills. Bills that would get this economy moving. And that's what this election is all about. It's about holding the House, building our numbers in the House, sending back people who are going to work for the right things in the House, and then winning the U.S. Senate. We have the opportunity to do it. It's within our grasp. I was with Ed Gillespie yesterday up in the northern part of our district. He is fired up. He is strong, and it is going to be the hard work of each of us that's going to get him across the line. And we need him. We need him. America needs him.
Yes.
America needs him. So I just want to thank you. We have 4 days. Some people may say we have 3 days to the election, but we have 4 days because our work has just begun today. So we have a full day today. We have all day tomorrow. We have all day Monday, and we have all day Tuesday. We cannot rest until 7 o'clock on Tuesday evening, and then we can rest. But let's do this for our country. We have it within our grasp. And I want to thank each of you all for everything that you've done and you're going to do in the next 4 days. Absolutely. Let me just briefly, this man needs no introduction. He has really worked so hard for the people he represents in the best interests of this country in Washington for many years. And somebody, I was proud when I first was sworn in. The first bill that I signed on to, when I had the power to do so, the power given to me by the people of Virginia's 5th District, was to sign on to a balanced budget amendment bill that has been sponsored by Bob Goodlatte for how many years? Probably too many. It's common sense, but believe it or not, there are people in Washington, D.C. who don't think that we need that, who don't think we need to balance our budget. Isn't that unbelievable? There are people in Washington, D.C. who vote against that. And that is just one example of the kind of leadership that Bob has displayed, at least since I have been able to observe him so closely. Just one small example of the kind of tremendous leadership that he exhibits. It's common sense, it's what the people want, and it's what this country needs. And I think he was as successful as he's ever been in getting co-patrons and getting it on the floor since I've been there that he's ever been. And we're going to keep working on that and growing the support for it until we get it done. And that's how you lead in this country. You can't, it's pretty rare that you can just wave a wand and make things happen. You have to go year after year after year. You have to grow it year after year after year. And that's the kind of leadership that Bob Goodlatte has displayed since he's been in office. And I'm just proud to call him a friend. I'm glad he's here with his driver, Mary Ellen, and his beautiful wife, his better half, Mary Ellen. But Bob, thank you so much for your leadership. Come on up and talk to the people and get them fired up.
Robert, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got a question for you. Are you ready to elect Ed Gillespie to the United States Senate? And I've got another one. Are you ready to fire Harry Reid when you're to the United States Senate? And are you ready to re-elect Robert Hurt to the United States House of Representatives? He's the majority. Those are all the right answers, and I need your help too, but you know what? We're going to win. Not just Robert and I, but Ed Gillespie's going to win too, because the polls are showing we're closing that gap. We have absolutely nothing to take for granted, and we have to use every precious minute between now and 7 o'clock on Tuesday night. But you can see the enthusiasm when you go around my congressional district and other parts of Virginia. You can read about it and hear about it when you watch the news coverage of what's happening all across this country. People are sick and tired of the leadership they're getting in the White House. They want change, and they know that senators who vote with President Barack Obama 97% of the time are a part of that problem. And you know, Mark Warner doesn't just prop up Barack Obama when he votes for the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, or when he votes for the nearly $1 trillion stimulus, which added nearly $1 trillion to what? Our national debt, to our burden on our children and grandchildren, because they are the ones who are going to suffer a much worse future and have to take on that burden at the same time because of that debt. Those are some of the things he voted for. But he also props up Harry Reid. One of the most precious things that the United States Constitution gives specifically to the United States Senate, doesn't give it to Robert and I in the House of Representatives, is the power to confirm presidential appointments. And when you do that, your responsibility is not to rubber stamp what any president wants. Your responsibility is to give close scrutiny to that and make sure that the people who are nominated are representative of the American people and their values. So what did Mark Warner do in this very election cycle that we're in right now? He voted with Harry Reid to make it easier for the President of the United States to get his appointments, and it made it easier to get very liberal appointments to our courts and to the cabinet positions and so on. All the things that are the responsibility of senators. Mark Warner said, here, take my vote and make it a rubber stamp for Barack Obama and for Harry Reid. So we need to make this change. And we have the opportunity to see Virginia be the deciding vote in the United States Senate. We need to win 6 seats. We've got a lot of opportunities around the country. This is one that a few months ago people didn't think was an opportunity at all. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, that I can sense that enthusiasm on our side. I can sense the lack of enthusiasm on the other side. People feel they've been betrayed by the lack of job creation, by the overregulation of the economy, by the power grab of a president who says, I'll take my pen and my phone. If the Congress doesn't do what I want them to do, I'll do it myself. Well, show me where in the United States Constitution it says that the legislative powers of our country are optional to the Congress and optional to the president. All powers here in Granite shall reside in a Congress of the United States comprised of a House and a Senate. Let's have a Senate that stands up for the American people, not for Harry Reid and Barack Obama. The great thing about Ed Gillespie is that not only is he pointing out those very clear differences with the incumbent, but he stands for what the American people and what the people of Virginia want. He stands for limited government, individual responsibility, free enterprise. He stands for an energy independence that we can have in North America if the government would get out of the way of energy production. We're producing more energy in this country in spite of the government, not because of our government. And that needs to change. He stands for job creation. He stands for fiscal responsibility. In fact, to Robert's point, and Robert, thank you so much for your kind words and mentioning the balanced budget amendment of the United States Constitution. It wasn't my idea. It actually was somebody who resided in your congressional district. The first person to ever come up with this idea, a guy named Thomas Jefferson. Has some street cred, I think, still, especially here in Virginia. But he's the first person who said that he wished for but one change to the Constitution. He was not involved in writing the Constitution. He was our ambassador to France at the time. And he said that if he could have but one change, it would be the ability to stop the federal government from borrowing money. That is exactly what a balanced budget amendment does. It stops the federal government from borrowing money. Now, you have exceptions. In fact, he would have wanted an exception, for example, to purchase the Louisiana Purchase, a good thing that he did, doubled the size of our country. But the point is that this is not a new idea. We've been fighting for it ever since. But people who think that they can buy votes with your dollars have always rejected that. The American people don't reject that because it's their dollars, and they're worried about it. And 80% of them believe in a balanced budget amendment in the United States Constitution. Ed Gillespie has said that one of his first acts as a member of the United States Senate will be to introduce a balanced budget amendment on the Senate side. So this election is getting a lot more exciting than some people thought. Especially more exciting for the other candidate, because he is suddenly waking up to find that the people of Virginia are starting to realize that this is not some middle-of-the-road candidate. When you vote with Barack Obama 97% of the time, when you give your vote to Harry Reid, you're not a middle-of-the-roader, not by any means. Neither is Ed Gillespie, by the way. Ed Gillespie is somebody who's going to fight for the conservative principles that the majority of people in Virginia believe in, and we need to fight for him for the next 4 days now. Clock is ticking down, so are the polls ticking down, getting close. We have absolutely nothing to count on, but everything to hope for if we'll go out and do that work. And I'm so delighted to see so many young people, so many people here who have worked so hard over the last few months, and now Marion and I are not going to let up as we get close to the election. And I hope you won't either. Talk to your friends, your family members, the people you work with, the people you worship with, your neighbors, to make sure they know that they will make a difference if they will get out and vote. If they don't get out and vote, the status quo will prevail. But if they do get to the polls, that's what this election will be about. It's all about turnout. It's all about exercising the most precious right that you have to protect all of your other precious rights that are enumerated in the Constitution. The right to vote protects your religious freedom, it protects your freedom of speech, it protects our right to assemble here, it protects your right to peaceably assemble and to seek redress of your grievances by the government, it protects your right to keep and bear arms, it protects your right to be safe and secure in your homes and free of unreasonable searches and seizures. All of those rights enumerated in our Constitution and our Bill of Rights are protected by your getting out and voting. If you don't vote, you have no reason to complain about the terrible government that we've got in Washington right now. Elections have consequences, so please help us get that message out to everyone here. And if we do, we'll have a tremendous celebration all across Virginia on Tuesday night. Thank you for everything that you have done. Thank you for everything that you have done. Thank you, those of you in the 5th Congressional District, for electing Robert Hurt. I can't tell you, this is not just about having somebody who doesn't cancel out my vote, which his predecessor did do. Thankfully, that didn't last very long. Robert took care of that for me. But listen, this is someone who, with his experience in the Virginia House of Delegates and in the Virginia Senate, came to Washington with, as I saw one candidate use in a local election years ago, no training needed at taxpayer expense. He hit the ground running. He got assigned to a very important committee, the Financial Services Committee, and when a short time later, I came to him because one of my constituents had complained about something with our financial services laws. He jumped right on it, introduced a bill, and that bill passed the House. And guess where it is right now? It's on that stack with Harry Reid's other 400 bills that he's blocking that have passed the House of Representatives. One fellow said to me the other day, he can't see how Harry Reid can even see over the top of his desk with 400 bills piled up on top of it. Of course, it's a figure of speech, but it is indeed true that the majority leader in the United States Senate is very powerful in scheduling legislation for the floor. And he's blocked all of that. We can change that. We can change it by electing Ed Gillespie to the United States Senate. So thank you all for coming out today. God bless each and every one of you. God bless the United States of America. Oh, and let's give Zach a round of applause too. And Wendell Walker. Back there too. That's good, but way in the back. And everyone else who's here who helped serve in party positions all across Central Virginia and in elected positions as well. I can't say enough about my friend Scott Garrett. He is exactly what you will get if you elect Ed Gillespie to the United States Senate, because he carries those same values to the Virginia House of Delegates every day. Thank you all very much.
Hey guys, just a couple of quick things. One, I want to recognize 2 more people that just walked in. One is Nate Boyer. He's the chairman of Bedford County back there. Thanks for coming in. Montgomery Pierce is the chairman of the College Republicans at Liberty University. She was standing behind us on the road. Let me tell you, I know we say it all the time, but the work that the College Republicans at Liberty do is beyond comparison. They do a tremendous job. So thank you, Montgomery, for your leadership over there. And there's just one last person I need to bring up here. Josh Bailey, come here. Josh Bailey is the victory director here in Lynchburg. And this guy's here from 8 a.m. in the morning till 10:30 at night every day. And what he does is he begs for people to go door to door. And he begs for people to make phone calls. And I've got to tell you guys, I know the media's here, but a lot of you haven't been in here, and we need you to be in here today. Today, we have to make the difference. And there's a lot of doors we can knock on, a lot of people at our home that are tired from going trick-or-treating last night, so we can go catch them today. Josh Bailey needs your help. There's 27 phones in this room. They're going to be fired up here in about 5 minutes and start making calls. And there's thousands of doors in Lynchburg, people who are dying to talk to you about this election, what matters. And I think, just because he's your staffer, but my friend Dan Webb's back there. Dan Webb does a tremendous job. And on the political side, the legislative side, Aaron Van Allen is also here from Congressman. No, Congressman, I see him in the paper more than I see you. Guys, thank you all for coming this afternoon. We've had a great crowd. We had a great organization. There's a lot of people who worked very hard. There's a lot of people I probably should have thanked that I've forgotten, but I'm sorry. Election day, Tuesday, it matters. Please come see this guy before you leave today. Make phone calls and knock on doors. Because if you don't do that, we will lose on election day, and you will not be able to complain about it. This guy is going to help you get connected, and he's going to help you do the calls and go door to door. We've also got some targeted precincts. We've got some people that we've got to turn out this election to win. So with that, thank you all. Let's win on Tuesday. Be back here at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night for a victory party. Thank you all.